I'm here with the Senate Budget Committee Chairman Kent Conrad, a critical player in these budget talks, and now we are at this critical moment right now on this debt ceiling vote. What is your expectation? What's going to play out in the Senate?
Well, first, the House is going to go. I'm confident that after a lot of discussion over there and persuasion, they will get the votes. Then it'll come here, and of course the question is, can we get consent to move before the rules of the Senate would otherwise allow? As you know, if you got to get cloture, then you got to have 30 hours post-cloture. At least that's the maximum.
It could take a while.
It could take a while.
Yeah. Well, let me get your sense, first of all, about this deal ultimately. This is not the Gang of Six package that you helped put together. This is not the Bowles-Simpson package, and you were a member of the Deficit Commission as well. Is this satisfactory given the fiscal challenges facing this country?
First of all, it is satisfactory in the sense that this is necessary to do, but it's not sufficient. We're going to have to do much more, and the Special Congressional Committee gives us the opportunity to do more. Only if it acts do we, I think, do what really has to be done to address the debt.
You know, there are criticisms already of this super committee that this hasn't worked in the past, that the hammer there, the enforcement mechanisms just really aren't there. You've got 12 lawmakers, 6 Republicans, 6 Democrats. Couldn't they just end up with gridlock?
They certainly could. I think the thing that may prevent them from gridlock is two things. One, the consequences of a failure for the committee to perform, that is the sequester, because that would impose very painful cuts on both domestic spending and defense spending. The second thing that could drive them, the rating agencies, because they put us on notice that if you don't do something serious and credible about the debt, we're going to downgrade the quality of U.S. debt.
What about the issue of taxes? Because there's already been a debate in the last few minutes. Eric Cantor saying Harry Reid's wrong. Tax increases are not part of this equation whatsoever. As you read this, as you understand this committee, are tax increases a possibility? Is that an eventual outcome, potential outcome from their conversations?
Yes, if you read the fine print very carefully, and we've had our lawyers go over it, we've had the Office of Management and Budget lawyers go over it very carefully. Everything is on the table if a majority of the committee chooses to have it on the table. In other words, what the Republicans are saying is they're tied into the CBO current law baseline. They think that prevents revenue. But if they read the fine print, what they'll find is a majority of the committee could choose to use some other baseline. And so if there's going to be revenue, obviously it would take a majority of the committee to decide that. But, that's going to be the case in any event.
What about the worst case scenario here? House or Senate today rejects this legislation. Where are we then?
That would be a very serious matter. You would see the markets react very adversely. And I think that would lead people to the conclusion they needed to go forward, even if initially you fail. But I don't think there will be a failure. I think leadership in the House and the Senate know full well this has to be done.
I spoke with Congressman Raul Grijalva. He's a co-chair of the Progressive Caucus. He expressed the sentiment of a lot of House Democrats I've heard that this deal is not good enough for Democrats. And his suggestion is, listen, the negotiators here, the president, have thrown the progressive part of the Democratic Party under the bus. What's your response to those numbers?
Look, I understand absolutely the frustration that people have. I think they have to ask themselves, what is the alternative to this agreement? The alternative is a default. A default would be catastrophic for the economy of the United States. No one would be hurt worse than the most vulnerable among us. So, second, I would say to them, remember there is the opportunity for the special committee to restore balance to this package. And we need to let that play out. We need to give it a chance. And we need to do everything we can to put America back on a more sustainable, stronger course, one that will permit jobs being created in this country, something that will help all of us.
Is Kent Conrad going to have a seat on this super committee?
I have no idea. The leadership obviously has to make tough decisions on who will serve, and we'll see.
What about on the Republican side? Do you fully anticipate that the Republicans sitting on the other side of the table, as you saw to some extent during the Deficit Commission talks that the folks on the other side of the table are going to be Republicans who are adamantly opposed to tax increases, and the first thing they'll do is take that right off the table.
You know, what was interesting in the commission, we had 18 members, 6 appointed by the president, 6 from the Senate, 6 from the House. 5 of the 6 from the Senate, Republicans and Democrats, supported the recommendations. 5 of the 6 of the presidential appointees supported the recommendations. 5 of the 6 from the House, Republicans and Democrats, opposed the recommendations. It tells you something about the 2-year term that House members are under. It's much harder for them to compromise left and right. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a simple majority here. So you could have all the senators be on board, and you could get just one House member, and it would go to the floor for a vote. So, look, it is possible here to do something very important for the country. Let's hope both sides realize this opportunity and don't let it pass by.
Not the deal, clearly, that you wanted originally. Senator Kent Conrad, Chairman of the Budget Committee, as always, appreciate you joining us.